Here we go. The views expressed on this program do not reflect the views of the staff, management, or licensee of this station. This is 91.7 FM, WHUS Stores. I am Pedlin Ron, and you are listening to Bicycle Talk. Hey, it's later than this. It's December 7th. 2020. Whoa. Hey, what do you know about that? So anyway, we're into December. Here we go. And of course, I'm going to go start this out with with the COVID thing. All right. I didn't mention that this is a show that we talk about bicycles, bicycle culture, bicycle advocacy, upcoming news in cycling, the bicycle business, and the bicycle calendar. And we are now recording our shows on Facebook Live because that's what we're doing right now, because we're locked out of the University of Connecticut campus due to COVID concerns, which I'll talk about in just a second. If you would like to leave a comment, you can leave a comment in the comments section, or you can send me an email at bicycletalk1@gmail.com. I'd be very happy to speak to you in the future. And if you have any other things you would like to add to the show, you can please do the same. You can also listen to past episodes of Bicycle Talk on whus.org, on iTunes, and now on Spotify. All right, back to the rant of the week. COVID. Enough is enough. All right. Why am I ranting on this? I'll tell you why I'm ranting on it. I should rant on this all the time. We are always ranting on this. But here's the deal. I caught a stomach bug last week. And because I caught a stomach bug last week, I ended up with a COVID test. Hey, because every single thing that you run into now, you have to double check, especially if you're out in the public working, or if you're helping your significant other, the lovely Dr. Fran Storch, who is not with me today, but she is with me. She's on her tablet, I think, in the other room. So we're doing this, quarantine thing at home. Yes, I am basically trapped in my bedroom. For most of the time. When I do come out, I've got, and you can't see this if you're listening to this, but I'm holding up gloves, which I'm wearing. And then I've got the mask, which is around my neck right now, so it's able to be put up too. But, I currently can't go to work because I'm waiting for my COVID results. The good news is Fran and I both went at the same time to do it in separate vehicles. Good times, which is good news because that means Fran is actually able to drive her car again. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we went, and she, being a physician, got tested, and they basically made her test go through much faster than they did with mine, even though I also work for her. So that's another story we won't get into. But anyway, her results came back negative, which is really, really good. So because she's been around me for the time that I was potentially live. And so that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. I'm still waiting the results. Oh gosh, I hope to come in today. It'd be really nice to be able to live in the house together instead of in separate rooms, and have to not touch anything out in the general house without having gloves on and my mask on and all the other fun stuff that goes along with this. This is a real pain in the neck, but we're being really cautious because cautious is good, and we want to be able to continue to broadcast our shows and be alive. Another big bonus, and not infect anyone at the same time. So anyway, if you do have comments, please feel free to comment. Fran is watching the show right along with you. If you are on Facebook Live, FaceTime, Facebook, confusing. But anyway, please feel free to comment, and we will try to get to everything we can. And anyway, positive side. I've got a great update posted on the Bicycle Talk the Bicycle Talk Facebook page, and it's a little video of basically it's like a Zoom meeting of an East Coast Greenway project meeting, and it's great. It's a great presentation. I really encourage you to check it out because it explains exactly what's going on up here in the great Northeast. That's starting from Washington, D.C. all the way up to Maine, and you'll see different representatives on that video that are contributing information as to what is happening within the particular states that they have jurisdiction over. So check it out. It's real informative. I really, really like it. A big shout out to Steve Salkolowski for catching on to this and letting me know that this was available. It's a great video. Check it out. Fun, fun, fun. Anyway, it won't take much more than, I think it's like 30 minutes long or so. So it's not horribly long, and it's, it's good. There's some good information in there. It's really, really exciting what is going on with the airline trail and the East Coast Greenway. It's just such a cool thing. So anyway, the other on a positive side, Fran's update. Yeah, it's Fran's update. Yeah, she's not here right here sitting next to me, but she is in the other room, and she I can tell you right now that she is much more mobile than she was a few weeks ago. Remember, if you have been listening to the shows, you've heard about the fact that Fran had she fell off a perfectly good bicycle. Anyway, fortunately, she was not going at breakneck speed. She was barely moving when she did it, but she tipped over and she landed hard on her shoulder, and she ended up breaking her arm, and the top of her humerus. Wasn't funny at all. Anyway, bad joke. Goes on every week. So it hurts a lot. And she was wearing a sling at first, and now she's not as much. She still uses it for support, more for a reminder that she is that she has this problem with her arm, so she doesn't get reminded the hard way. And you know what that's like if you've ever broken a bone. You go, oh, especially sneezing and coughing and other various things, even laughing sometimes can hurt if you have a broken bone. So anyway, but she's doing much, much better, so much to the point where she is actually driving her car short distances, which is cool because now I'm not driving her everywhere. And now we actually were able to drive to our COVID tests separately. So that was kind of a cool thing. But anyway, Fran's doing better, a lot better. And she's riding on Zwift like a mad woman. She's just on it all the time. And I hear her down there chatting away. She got our friend, we have a friend, Monica, who is also on Zwift, who got to ride with her yesterday and is learning the whole social aspect to the Zwift thing. So, and there are others on there too that she was riding with, which is really cool. Shout outs to Kim and others that are out there. So, anyway, Fran's doing much better, which is good. Good. So that's another positive thing. And now I'm going to move on to the maintenance minute. The maintenance minute. A little drink of water there. Scanning over the tool needs in your home workshop as winter approaches. All right, so what I want you to do here, and we're going to talk about this a little bit about essential tools that you might want in your workshop as we're approaching the winter, and also the big one right now, the holidays. So do you have, people who are saying, I know we can't get together this year, but I want to get you a present for the holidays. Remember, we have Hanukkah and we also have Christmas. And then we have all the others that I can never remember. But anyway, we do have those two that are stuck in my mind because I've got Hanukkah in the other bedroom and then I've got me, which is Christmas. So anyway, you need to take a look at some essential tools that you might need in your home workshop. And this is a great time to say, hey, you know what I could really use? Get something you could really use. That's kind of a nice thing. Put out a wish list out there so that people can check it out and they can see exactly what it is that you're going to need to keep your workshop up to date, because there's some things that change. There's a lot of things that changed over the years. We've gone to disc brakes on a lot of bicycles, so there's definite tools you might need there. We're using Torx wrenches instead of Allen keys because of that. There's a lot of different things that you might want to look at. But what I've got here is a couple of different lists, And one is from our friends across the pond at Road CC. And it's that one. I'm going to start with that one right there because this is the beginner's guide bike tool list. Now, first of all, let me just back up here. Let's see, Vital Gear, beginner's guide. Here we go. So anyway, you don't need a ton of specialty tools, but there are some basics that are super, super helpful. And they start with, on this list, they start with Allen keys. And the ones that you're looking for that are really helpful, if you don't have them yet, are the Bondus ones. That's Bondhus. And they are the ones that have the little ball end on them, as well as the Allen wrench on the other side. So why do I like these? I like these because you can get at difficult Allen fittings from an angle, and they work really, really well. So it works great than better than the standard Allen wrench does in that situation. Especially interesting when you're using them on a bottle cage. Those are the, you can't quite get the angle right, but you can with a Bondus tool. So check out Bondus tools. Those are really cool. Make sure you have a good set of screwdrivers. You want to have both Allen, oh boy, Phillips and common as far as that goes, and there's plenty of them out there. I like to have my spanner wrenches, combination wrenches, so box end on one side and metric and open end on the other side. Most of them are going to be metric. That's where I was going with my brain there. So anyway, yeah, nice set of spanners is really handy to have too. Pliers, you want to have needle nose pliers, and also you need a set of cutoff pliers like what we which we call diagonal pliers, so you can cut different things like housing and that sort of thing. They're definitely helpful. And then a regular set of pliers too. I like to also have a set of channel lock pliers, which I don't see on this, but anyway. Torx keys, yeah, Torx is a thing now, especially if you're using disc brakes. You'll find that all those discs, the discs are actually held onto the hub with a Torx key. So you want to make sure you have those too. And they make Torx and Bondus combos. So if you're looking to do that too, you can also have it in a Bondus setup, so you can get into your torque wrenches. Set of tire levers. Everybody's got to have a set of tire levers. I like that. I have a nice big heavy duty set that I use in the workshop. Not like the ones that I carry on my bicycle. Something a little bit heavier duty. I use some from, I have a couple different ones. I have ones from Park, and I also have ones from Lezyne, and they're both super heavy duty. You got to have a floor pump. Real important. Got to have a floor pump. Floor pump is super nice. If you're trying to inflate your tires with CO2s and with small mini pumps, stop wasting your time. Invest in a good floor pump. This is a good time, if you can't afford it, to pass it on to a family member or a friend who would like to do something nice for you, and get a good one. I recently had the fortune to stumble across an old Silca pump, with the Columbus tubing and the special Silca head on it and all. I was helping a friend clean out her house before she moved, and her husband had left us behind, so that's really good. I can't wait to play with it. I haven't even used it yet, but it's just nice to look at. It's fun. Anyway, pedal spanners. Yeah, you need to have a pedal wrench. Pedal wrench is like super important. Again, there's lots of classics out there. They're super helpful. Here they have another one called a cable puller. So if you have hydraulic shifting or hydraulic brakes or electronic shifting, you can ignore this. But for the rest of us who are cable people, and you know me, I'm definitely a cable person. This is like a super handy tool, and it grabs onto the cable and squeezes down and pulls the cable taut while you tighten down with your Allen wrench. or regular spanner if that's what you have. I actually need one of these if Fran is watching. I will send you over a link, Fran, so you could, that would be a nice thing to have. Cable cutters, yeah, special cable cutters. And remember, cable cutters that we're using today are much different than the cable cutters we used in the past, and they are designed for these newer housings that you can, so you can cut them off without causing a problem, although I have a solution for that too. And also they cut the cables much nicer, and they cut on the round, so they work. They're not a normal sort of diagonal type plier cutters, and you gotta have a set of cable cutters. They're excellent. A chain wear gauge, super nice to have. I definitely use those. I am pretty good about checking my chains for the most part, but if you can take a look and it'll tell you when your chain is at the time to replace time of its life. And then a chain tool. If you don't have a chain tool yet, they're wonderful to and definitely an essential tool, and lots of different companies make chain tools, so you can find them anywhere. There is a thing called a chain joining link pliers. Okay, so most of the new chains are coming with a master link of sorts, and they're really effective. They work really good. I've never had a failure on these things. They really, really work well. I know there are some people that have, but it's probably because you didn't assemble it back together correctly. But the chain link pliers are really good for taking the chain apart again. So if you're one of those who likes to take your chain on and off because you're cleaning it that way, not recommended by me, but that's all right. Some people like to do that. Then this is just a super nice tool. Plus, when it is time for you to replace that chain and put a new chain on, trying to get that old chain off after it's been covered in grime and also has been ridden on that long, without the chain link plier, it's really, really hard to get the chain apart. So anyway, power links are just so much easier to take apart when you have one of these. And then, of course, work stand. Yeah, it's kind of a luxury item for some people. Some people, it's a necessity. I definitely find this to be a necessity. A good portable stand works well in most cases because it's going to be something you can also toss in the back of your car if you're going to an event and you want to bring your stand along with you. Whatever, maybe you're working the event because you're the local bike tech guy that needs to help out. So portable stand is great, but I also have a solid stand in the basement, and it's actually in my garage. And what I found is the base of it, I kept tripping over the base of it because they're big and they're heavy and they're clunky. And so I actually flipped mine around, and I've actually screwed it into the rafters in the ceiling in my garage. And I use a Park PRS-1 professional bike stand for that, and it's great because I can pull the arm out and get it out of the way, and I can still walk around in my garage without bumping my head on it, which is helpful. And anyway, if you need any more information about how I did that, just let me know and I'll send you over a link and show you what I did. It takes a little while to figure out exactly where you need it, and I still have to reposition mine one more time because I didn't get it quite right, and I want to have enough room to work around the bike while I've got it there. But I really like it. A torque wrench. They're expensive, but they're essential to prevent damage, especially if you're working on carbon fiber frames and products. Really, really helpful. Other things, sprocket tools. Yeah, that funny little thing called a chain whip, which has a chain, it looks like a bar with a chain on it. That's essentially what it is, and a flat bar with a chain on it. And that's like super helpful. And then you also need the cassette lock ring remover to go along with that. These are all essential items, and really basics. I've got them all except for that cable tool, which Fran will find a place to put that for the holidays. Anyway, so lots of good tools. That's the beginner's guide. And then, of course, Bicycling Magazine had their own list here too. And I think there's going to be a lot of things that are basically the same. So There's yeah, hex wrenches once again with the Bondus, the same thing. Big, you know, a great floor pump is good. Compact chain tools once again, tire levers once again. Yeah, this is an interesting thing. The Finish Line makes a 5-piece brush set, which is just made for cleaning your bikes. And it's really, really nice. That's kind of a cool thing. I think there are others out there too that Pedro's used to have one. I don't know if Pedro still exists as far as that goes. Bike repair stands, once again, we've already been over that. Torque wrenches, we've also been over that. Usually a 1/4-inch drive torque wrench is all you really need because a lot of the things you're torquing are small items. So you can also find those out there pretty good. I particularly like the it looks like a 3-prong, almost looks like a peace sign type Allen wrench, which is, I have both Torx and I also have Allen on that. That's also a handy tool here. Chain checkers, again, once again, we're just talking about the same things. Pedro's, oh yeah, this is so cable and housing cutters, they're expensive, but they're worth it, and they're definitely out there. You can also get a chain cleaner, which is like a plastic device that you clamp around your chain, put solvent in it, and you can clean. That's another thing that wasn't mentioned in the other site. You should always have some sort of a measuring tool for measuring things. Probably in metric is handy in most cases. The chain whip is mentioned here, as well as bottom bracket tools, cup tools, that sort of thing, which weren't mentioned with the other folks. So a nice set of scissors for when you're taping your bars. That's kind of a nice thing. Maybe a bike apron to keep your clothes from getting all cruddy and disgusting. That might be another nice thing that you might want to grab. So chain keeper, I just got one of these. I have not done this before, and it's just a nifty item that when you take your rear wheel off, you put the chain keeper in there and it holds the chain up, and it's great for cleaning your bike. It's really, really a handy thing. And of course you're going to need a bunch of rags. That's another thing, but that basically covers it. That's from our folks at Bicycling Magazine. They had some good ideas here too. And so anyway, yeah, essential tools that you need. That's my maintenance minute, which is far more than a minute. It's always far more than a minute. I kind of take a lot of time on this because I do have a background in bicycle mechanics. I grew up in an automobile garage. I became a bicycle mechanic. I then went on to work in the bicycle industry for 44 years. So I got a little background here, and there's nothing like a good tool. Nothing like a good tool. So anyway, get your workshop ready for the winter time. And for those of you that are in Southern California and in Florida and all those other lovely warm places, well, you know, maybe you start thinking about it for the summertime when it's too warm to ride. I hear it's too warm to ride. I have not yet experienced that, but I've heard tell. So anyway, yeah, now it's time to take a look at that because it is around the holidays. It doesn't matter where you are, as far as where you are in the world and what the weather is like. It's still holiday time for a lot of people, and a good time to put these on your put items on your gift list. So I'm just, you know, the timing's right. It's December 7th, so we're getting close. And anyway, happy Hanukkah, by the way. Let's move on to the show and a little bit more of what's going on in the world of cycling. And we have got some cool stuff going on. If you're into cyclocross at all, there have been a couple of big World Cups that have happened recently. And I just finally got around to watching the Elites race in Tibor, and it was great. It was great. Oh my God. These guys are, and I watched both the women's race and the men's race. They were both excellent. Two totally different styles of riding when you come to the women and the men. When the women rode, it was, gosh, what was it? It was cold. It was like 15 degrees out. The men, it wasn't much warmer. It was really cold. So the ruts that were on the course had become very frozen. And if any of you ever spent any time at the Cyclocross Nationals that were in Hartford you know all about frozen ruts. I can tell you from my experience with them that we were out with sledgehammers breaking them down the night before one of the races because they just got to be treacherous. We had a really warm, muddy, rainy day, and then we had uh, 10 degrees. And it just made a mess. It just made an absolute mess out of the course. And we had everything you could imagine at that course. But anyway, they had the same thing. They had a lot of ruts. And there were some complaints that Tabor was going to be a little too flat for some of the riders. And it was very flat. I will give you that. But it did have its own set of circumstances in there. And there were some nice run-ups of stairs and hillsides, which were good. There's always obstacles and barriers, but the pro women, they get off their bike and they hop over the barrier. The pro men just ride over them. They hop them, and occasionally they make the mistake and they catch their front wheel and over they go, and the rest is not good. You can usually clear the first one, no problem, but that second one comes up real quickly, and if you don't get your weight right, and you might tap your front wheel when you're going over, and I saw a couple of little endos on that one. The women's race started on the tarmac, so it was paved where they had the start finish line. And they went into the first turn and there was a huge pileup and really made a big difference between as to how the whole race got laid out. Katie Compton got pushed way back because of it, got caught behind the crash. A lot of people got caught behind the crash. It was just a big mess. I'm not a really big fan of the paved start with a 90-degree right-hand turn going narrow at the end of the paved start. Folks, you're putting together a course. You want to make it fair to everyone. I understand that we are starting on pavement in a lot of these races, but don't throw a turn in that close to the start. That's just kind of crazy. So I'm not a big fan of that. But anyway, the women had a huge crash, but it was still a very exciting race to watch. And then I watched the men's race where our familiar name Wout van Aert is he's back. He's off of the riding Grand Tours, and now he's back to cyclocross. What an incredibly different discipline, because the cyclocross race is an hour. And, an average day in the saddle at the Tour of Italy or the Tour de France is going to be, 5-6 hours, 7 hours. I don't know how long, not 7. They're faster than I am. But anyway, they, it just became this amazing race. And it was a two-way battle with Michael Van Hortenhout. Wow. I'm not doing good on these names. And he ended up winning the race, by the way. But it was a two-way battle against his teammate, Eli Esserbert. And anyway, Michael proved to be the strongest of the two on the last lap and took a solo victory. And he just, I'm telling you, they were side by side, neck and neck, back and forth, the whole race. And it just looked like it was going to come down to a sprint finish. And Michael just slammed it hard 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 times, put a real hard effort into it, and ended up pulling away with just enough seconds to give him the victory. In the meantime, the battle for third and fourth became between actually Wout and Van Aert was back there, and it was down to the last lap once again. And what happened was Van Aert had a bit of a stumble going up one of the hills. He was riding up it, but his wheel got caught in one of those crazy ruts. And when it got caught in the rut, it threw him from one side of the course all the way over to the other side of the course. And the rider coming up behind him ended up having to back down. And that gave Van Aert his advantage and made it so he could finish. So it was unfortunate, but it is cyclocross, and that is the way it is. The gap between first place and third place was 14 seconds. 14 seconds after 1 hour of brutal racing. 14 seconds. So that was really cool to watch. I had a really good time and I really enjoyed that. I want to share that with you if you get a chance. There are videos online. There are programs that you can put money into, and you can also watch them repeatedly if you wish. And I have I'm on Flow Sports, so I've got a year subscription to Flow Sports, so I can watch all sorts of bike racing, which I really enjoy. You may find another format that works for you, and remember, you can also, I believe they have monthly subscriptions to those too. So if you don't want to go for the full year, you can avoid that. But if you're a bike racing junkie like I am, it's a nice thing. Hey, there's an idea for your holiday list. There you go, another idea. So anyway, that was really great. Yesterday there was another race, and this was let's see. This was the Boom race, okay, in Belgium, I believe, is where Boom is. Anyway, yeah, here we go again. So Michael Van Throenhout, Hoot, excuse me, was second in that race by 15 seconds. Once again, the winner was his teammate, who was second in the other race. So they went back and forth with each other on that. And he won in 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 5 seconds. So very long race. That's a pain cave that you just don't want to have to spend a lot of time in. Toon Arts was third. Wout van Aert was fourth and down 32 seconds this time. So Wout van Aert hasn't got well, I won't say he hasn't, because he's amazing. But he is working on getting himself back up to that sharpness that you need to be up in the lead. And I think he's going to be there. He's had 2 big pro races, big UCI pro races in a row now, and I can't wait to watch the video on this. I just haven't had a chance to see it yet, so we'll see how it all worked out. But the fact that first through fifth were a minute from one another, in total. So we got first place at the second place at 15 seconds, third place at 21 seconds, and fourth place at 32 seconds. That's amazing. That's amazing. This is if you like watching cyclocross, watch the guys that really got it down, the big time pros. It's been fun. It's a little weird because, in previous years, especially Belgian Cross, it's a huge moneymaker. And so they actually close off the venue, they fence off the venue. So you have to pay to get in. And I think that they're like, it's well, anyway, you have to pay to get in. And so it can be expensive to watch, but I mean, there's tens of thousands of people lining the course, like 10 to 15 deep. It's amazing to see the people that show up. And of course, one of the prime things, the major things that you need to have is that is a beer is required. So there are these beer tents along the way, and you line up near there, and everyone is just drinking. It's just a big party. So they can't have people there, which is disappointing because it adds to the excitement of the race when you've got that many people screaming at you, and add alcohol, and they're screaming even louder. But that would have been like a COVID disaster. So that's not happening this year. But it's still, good, solid courses, good, good racing, great competition, just really fun to watch. So it's all real good. And here we go. And so, this is definitely something that if you can watch it, you'll just see some things. I'm just amazed at how they just hop the barriers. We weren't doing that years ago, and then I believe my my young juniors, the McCormick brothers, came out and showed me what barrier hopping was all about, and so I I made some modifications and made it a little bit more difficult for them. But anyway, the first time I had seen anyone hop barriers was when they came to Mansfield Hollow and hop barriers. So it's kind of a cool thing if you have the skill to do it. And apparently, if you're a top level pro, you have the skill to do it because they're all doing it now. So barriers are becoming a less of a problem as far as the race goes. I would love to figure out a way to really make people get off their bikes, but it's cross. You do what you got. Anyway, so last week, I'll move on from cyclocross here. Last week we talked a little bit more about we were talking about indoor cycling, and we were talking about here we go. We were talking about Peloton and Zwift and all these different things, and I had a little rant about the whole trademarking names like Peloton because the Peloton's a Peloton. Anybody who rides a bike knows what Peloton is. You don't trademark it. Well, they did. Anyway, so Peloton is very, very, very popular, and it's very popular. I have friends who are on Peloton. I have friends who don't have Peloton bikes and still use Peloton. It's a motivational workout is essentially what it is. Is it worth it? Well, what's it take for you to get motivated? Do you need somebody coaching you and screaming at you and getting you to go harder and faster and getting you to dig down into your inner soul and find what you've got? Then yeah, that kind of class is good. A spin class is the same idea. And a lot of spin classes are going virtual this year, mine possibly included on that. I'm working on that. But, this COVID thing is a problem. It's a nuisance, it's a problem, and that's what it is. And I don't know what else to tell you. So keep in touch with me about the indoor possibilities, because I've been teaching indoor cycling now for 16 years, and I would like to share that with people if I can. But anyway, and I'm still working on the whole, being at the gym thing is not comfortable for me. And it's not comfortable for a lot of people, but there are formats out there you can go on and you can still do this. Peloton is one of them. And they, of course, would really would love you to buy their bike, and their bike comes with a video screen, and it is essentially a spin bike with a video screen. Can you do this yourself? Yeah, you can do this yourself. This is not difficult, especially if you have a smart trainer. It makes it even easier. And the smart trainers, in comparison, unless you're buying a smart bike and trainer, which some companies have. I've seen some really nice ones out there. I don't believe that Peloton is one of the nice ones. This is just my opinion, and I'm perfectly willing to have a discussion with them about it if they wish to contact me on it. Their system's really good. You can do it on your smart trainer and also with your own bicycle if you wish to. Their particular bicycle I'm not thrilled with. It's like the old spin bikes I used to teach on years and years ago, and I just find that they're just lower quality machines. That's the best way to put it. But they also have treadmills, and you can get one of those too. You can do all sorts of things with Peloton. So is it a good value? I think you're doing yourself a better service to get yourself a smart trainer. By the way, smart trainer alert, they're real hard to come by. And this is the way it's going to be for a long time, because we are locked in for another winter, and trainers are selling as fast as the dealers can get them in stock. If you are looking for a trainer and a smart trainer, it is highly recommended that you check with your local bike shop and check and see if they do have more coming in, and if they are not all spoken for. If they are all spoken for, get on the list, man. This is time. You're not going to get these things very easily. They're building them as fast as they can. And there are all sorts of issues that go along with bike builds and machine builds like this that have to do with they're buying parts for these at various locations. And sometimes one of those locations is out. So therefore, the whole thing comes to a screaming halt because they can't get one particular component, which is going to make the build complete and therefore get the product out to you. So it's super, super important that you talk to your local bike shop if you're interested in getting in on this revolution. Fran is in on the revolution. She's on that bike all the time. I hear her down there chatting with her friends, and she's got a whole system. You can get very, very sophisticated with this if you want, or you can be very, very do it very simply too, and you don't even need to do the whole smart trainer thing if you don't want to. You can simply put your trainer downstairs or your roller downstairs. Well, it doesn't have to be downstairs, in a place that you would train, and you can, put a video on your, tablet or your laptop or your videos or your TV screen, and you can watch that. And if that motivates you, great, that's wonderful. Is it as effective? Not really, but it's still possible. And so there are less expensive ways of doing this sort of thing if you want to do it. You will find, because there are so many people that are on smart trainers right now, that the used trainer market for the older style ones is ripe at the moment, and there's plenty out there for you. So you might, take a look at that and see what you can find. But anyway, Peloton, yeah. So, their whole method is not super I guess I'm not as enthused about them because they should have hired me. I'm a motivational guy. I can show you how to ride hard on your bike. That's what I do. But, anyway, there's a certain charisma that you have to have in order to be a Peloton instructor. And they are the highest paid indoor cycling instructors in the world. No doubt about it. No doubt. When you've got all these people online that are paying to take a class, they're being paid well. They're being compensated well. Good thing. It takes a lot of energy to put a class out. It takes a lot of energy to do what they do. And their workout that they're putting you through is more of a performance than anything else. And I'm not saying they're not working hard. I'm saying that they are definitely performing at a very high level. So anyway, Peloton is something that will help you and get you motivated and get you out there. I think it's good. There are other avenues that you can go. You can go if you're more into the workout and just, want to just get trained. There are other things you can do. You can do Trainer Road, which is another one. And Trainer Road is really more focused on serious workouts. And they also have a program that you can click into. You will want a smart trainer, or else you're just not really going to be very effective with it. Rouvy is another one that you might want to do. The Trainer Road ones I really find to be a little bit more lined up like you're being coached. And that would be my preference if I were to do something like that. But anyway, so there's different aspects to different styles. And then the Rouvy one, I have not played with the Rouvy one yet to see what's going on there. But it looks like Bill, who is listening to us all the time, is definitely hooked up with Rouvy right now. Oh yes, GCN. Yes, see the shirt? For those of you who can't see me because this is a podcast, I am now in front of my camera with my GCN shirt on because yes, GCN is another one. They have wonderful motivational workouts, and you get to watch some ex-pros suffer and sweat and work real hard on either trainers or special bikes or whatever they do. But anyway, yeah, that's another one. And thank you, Billy, for that comment. I do appreciate that. So And then I found another one when I was looking through all my lists here. There's another one right here, and this one is interesting because there are different aspects to this. If you there is a non-pay feature and then a pay feature on this, and this one is called RGT Cycling, and RGT has a selection of ultra realistic roads, and you can take on actual roads and climbs. I have yet to play with it. I hope by next week I'll be able to give you a report on this because I'd like to check this out and see how it works. It's going to force me to get onto a trainer downstairs. Ooh, ouch. Okay, but I've got to break down and learn more about this, so this is the best way to do it. But anyway, yeah, Trainer Road is another option that you might have. Not Trainer Road. This is RGT Cycling. There's lots of them. There's they have just emerged out of the popularity of riding your bike indoors, and who would have known that that was going to become such a good thing? And yeah, it is definitely the real deal. So here's the question: will an indoor cycling class at your local gym or cycling studio help you in the winter? So this is from a site that is called trainright.com. And the answer is, well, yes, of course. Of course it is. I know a lot of people. I have a set of friends who bought a Peloton bike a couple years ago. Hello, Larry and Donna. They bought a Peloton bike, and they're into it, and they're having a really, really good time on it. And I will tell you that when they came back out in the spring, they were fit. They were very fit. Donna especially was much more fit than she had been in previous years. So, not to mention last names. So anyway, this is a thing that works. It definitely works. And maybe it works because you have the ability to get on a schedule of planned rides and planned training. I'm not really sure exactly, but it definitely works. So indoor cycling classes, I say the same thing. I've been teaching them for years. I have an indoor series that I call Extreme Spin that starts in January. It's an 11-week series. It's a weekend ride. It's on a Sunday, and it's an hour and a half in length. So you're on the bike for a while, and I go through a very serious warm up, and then I spend some time with it. We warm you up slowly, and then off we go. And then it gets into the intensity of the ride, which is intense. It definitely is a solid workout. So you're going to come out of that if you spend the amount of time like I spend indoor cycling over the wintertime. You're going to have hours on your legs. Stop thinking about miles. Take the whole miles thing. I've talked about this for years, about the whole miles thing, because we get into that big fish syndrome. How many miles did you ride last year? It's like, I don't care. I really don't care. It's like I used to ride a lot of miles. Now I don't ride as many miles. So because I don't ride as many miles, does that make me less of a cyclist than I was a number of years ago? Well, yeah, when I was 20, but I'm not 20 anymore. I'm now 65, so I'm an old guy, and I have to train smarter, and so I train by time, not by miles. Because when you train by miles, if you have an unbelievable amount of time, if you're retired or independently wealthy and you can get out and ride your bike whenever you want, you can sleep all the rest of the time and eat and really take care of yourself. Maybe you have a massage therapist that you deal with once a week or maybe once a day. I don't know. Sure, you can ride big miles. That's great. That's really good. But I'm not a pro racer. I'm just the average guy that likes to ride his bike. So I'm looking for time in the saddle, and essentially what happens is by the time I get on the road after teaching through January, February, and March, I usually have between 80 and 90 hours on my legs. Yeah, I almost said miles. Hours on my legs. So when you've got like 85 or 90 hours on your legs, you hit the road. And yeah, the first ride, if you haven't been on the road at all, if you just, found yourself trapped indoors for all that time, that first ride on the road is going to feel really uncomfortable. It's not like it was when you got off your bike in the fall. You're not there yet because you still have to put some more hours in. But the point is that you, in about 2 or 3 rides, you're back and you're feeling really good. And you're feeling good because you got the muscle memory all revved up and ready to go. You got your cardiovascular system all revved up and ready to go. And now you're ready to get out there and really ride your bike and have some fun with it and feel fit and strong. So yeah, hours in the saddle indoors count. And this is a big argument that we have with some of our serious cycling fans. And I will say, I'm going to take a quick drink of water here. But anyway, some people don't feel that indoor cycling is beneficial. Well, I would say not correctly right. You're going to sweat a lot. You're definitely gonna go through a lot of laundry because you're certainly gonna be soaking your clothes like crazy, but you should be washing your clothes after your ride anyway. But anyway, it's a good option. It's definitely a good option out there. And this article right here essentially says that this is good. You can measure your progression. And you see incorporating spin classes in your winter training program doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposal. There's nothing wrong with an occasional or even weekly sweat fest. It's fun, just like going out on the Tuesday night World Championship group ride in the summer. You know those rides. You definitely know those rides. But there are definitely places you can do, get coached, structured workouts on Zwift or Sufferfest or Trainer Road. So you definitely have those options out there. Yes, they are good. Yes, they will help you. Is it the only thing you should do? I don't think so. I think you should mix it up in the wintertime. If you can mix in a little weight training, maybe a couple of days a week where you're just working on some of your core strength and getting that back in check so that when you go out and first start riding into the hills and you hit your first hill, you don't throw your back out or cause some sort of a problem there. You also want to be able to hold your position on your bike well. So I think that that's another thing you should check out and do. As far as making sure that you're work on that core strength over the winter time. Mix it up with the riding on the indoor cycle. So one day you may do an indoor cycle ride, the next day you may do a core workout. Like I said, mix it up. And if you still have the ability to do other forms of sport, like if you're in a snowy place and you have the ability to cross-country ski, oh God, that is the best. I'm going to tell you right now, from the experience that I have had over the years of training in the wintertime, if you have the ability to spend a lot of time on cross-country skis in the wintertime, there is no better sport that you can cross over with cycling. None. I don't see any of it, because you're not just getting the cardiovascular, which is intense with cross-country skiing, but you're also getting the upper body work because you're working really hard with your arms and shoulders and your core. So your core is essential on that. My particular love in the wintertime as far as cross-country skiing goes, and again, you have to have snow to be able to do this, and a regular place to go or some nice groomed trails, skate skiing. There's just no replacement. I'm telling you, there's nothing like skate skiing. It does wonders for your cycling. I found myself in probably my best spring cycling shape when I spent the winter going, and we had to go north a lot because that's where the snow was. So we would go for a Saturday and Sunday 2-day skate skiing binge, which it really was a binge because we're spending 3 to 4 hours on the skis each day. And I'll tell you, after hour 3, hour 4 is difficult. I mean, you lose your style, you're cooked. And so it's probably a little long, but at the same time, if it's all you got, it's all you got. And then during the weekdays at that time, I was supplementing my training with running and with some ice skating if there was ice available back home, or, unfortunately on the trainer if you have to do it. But I shouldn't say unfortunately on the trainer, because training on a trainer has become a big deal in the bicycle world, and that's just the way it is. So anyway, I will hit up on some other stuff next week. I have a 20 unwritten rules of spin class here, which we should probably chat about next week, and we will see if we can get some sort of a general idea about how that all works. And let's see, do I have a couple of other things I might be able to fit in here besides all these wonderful workouts? So the other thing I have on my list here is there's a trade show calendar from Bicycle Retailer, and yeah, there's gonna be trade shows still. It's a little sketchy, but they're there. They're definitely there. In January, well, the oh boy, postponed, canceled. Oh my God, Munich is online from February 1st through the 5th over in Munich, Germany. Cabda online from the 10th to the 11th. The Quality Bicycle Product, University of Quality Frostbike Business Summit. Okay, that's a big deal if you're in the bicycle industry. They do this thing called Frostbike. A lot of people go out there online. The Taipei Show in Taiwan in March is coming up on March 6th, 3rd through the 6th. The London Bike Show in the UK, March 5th through the 7th. So these are all, they're coming, but there's a lot of online stuff, it looks like, by the looks of things. We may see a little bit more. People for Bikes Bicycle Leadership Conference in April is coming up in Santa Cruz, California. The New England Builders Ball. Yeah, those are our friends. That's Eric, and he is scheduled for the 15th of May. Cross your fingers. Hopefully we'll have the Builders Ball. The Sea Otter Classic in Monterey is scheduled for May 20th. That's a misprint. So, and the backup dates are the 7th through the 10th of October on that. So, there's stuff happening. The calendar it's sketchy for sure, but it is definitely happening. And, we'll just have to see where everything goes. Eurobike sets September dates for 2021. So, that's what's going to go on there. It's a tough time that we're having right now. So we're just going to kind of move on through this. And I just want to talk maybe a little bit, if I can pull this up, the World Cyclocross calendar. I got a really quickie right here. And it's not pulling up the way I had it before. Give me the list view. Here we go. So we are currently, load more. We are currently into December. So the next World Cup race, which we just did this one right here, on the 6th was, okay, so the 12th is the next one. So every weekend there are these big World Cup races. The next one's in Tai Cup, Toy Cup on December 12th, followed by the December 20th. There is also a World Cup in Namur, and we'll be watching these. That's in Belgium. So the cyclocross stuff is going on. So we'll see what happens here as far as cross goes. And then, of course, we're moving on to the World Championships too, which will be in January, I think, maybe February this year. Can't remember. But anyway, that's what's going on in the world of cross and bicycle retail. And we go back here and we talk a little bit more about, this is pretty much it. What's next? We've been through the calendar. We know what that's all about. Finishing points. All right. How about the good Dr. Fran Storch? Still repairing and feeling better every day, continuing to rock her way into recovery. We're going to do highlights on Fran every week as we see how her fitness is coming along. Next week, we'll be able to talk together because we won't be on COVID alert, or maybe we still will be on COVID alert, but hopefully not. So anyway, that COVID thing. God, I hate that COVID thing. So try to stay safe, folks. Cyclocross is alive and exciting. And what are your winter indoor plans? You know, what's going to go on here? Is your winter workshop up to date? The holidays are coming. It's wish list time. All right. That's it. That's my finishing points. The views expressed on this program do not reflect the views of the staff, management, or licensee of this station. My name is Pedlin Ron, and you've been listening to Bicycle Talk without my friendly co-host, but sort of with her, Fran Storch, a show where we talk about bicycles, bicycle culture, bicycle advocacy, upcoming news in cycling, the bicycle business, and the bicycle calendar. If you're listening to this on Facebook Live, the Bicycle Talk Facebook page, or on podcast and you'd like to comment, you can send me an email at bicycletalk1@gmail.com. And remember, you can listen to past episodes of Bicycle Talk on WHUS.org, iTunes, or now on Spotify. If you want to contribute information to the show, send me an email. This is Pedlin Ron. Remember, keep the rubber side down, the wind at your back. Get out and ride your bike. This is 91.7 FM, WHUS Stores, and WHUS.org. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Be safe.